Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Vash still here again. Uh, I haven't uploaded videos in a while. The last video was hold on, let me see. There's a poster that I wanted this, but it's not showing up. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! There you go. All right. So like I said, it's been a what the hell? I gotta start over. Hey everybody, it's Vash still here again. Well, it's been a while since I uploaded a video. The last video that I uploaded was my Kill Annie condolences video, and if you guys saw that, then you guys are aware that I'm no longer living in the house that I was living in. So that's why the posters behind me are all different. Setup is completely different now because of that. And even before then, I was on a really long hiatus, and that hiatus was there for a reason. It had a lot to do with work, a lot to do with the cafe, and a lot to do with personal issues that were going on as well. Okay, so the hiatus started around sometime in February, January, February, somewhere around there, around the time of my birthday. So late January, early February, early to mid February was when it happened. And it's because, like I said, there was just I was working around that time when when I started the hiatus was because I was out job hunting and I was looking for a second job, and immediately after starting the hiatus I did manage to get a second job. So while I was working that second job, I was working two jobs at the same time, and on top of that I was also working for the cafe that I'm a part of, the cosplay cafe that I'm a part of. And on top of the cosplay cafe, I was also part of the council, the anime club council that the cafe started from. So I was always kind of busy doing events for all that stuff, doing events for work, getting all that stuff situated, and like I said, personal stuff as well that was going on. But I'm trying to get back into the swing of making videos. This is a quick update video on a bunch of other stuff that, like what's happened and everything, and some things that they're changing, some things that are coming forward. So there's all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Anyway, let's get down to the details. What happened since the Kill Annie video? Well, what happened since the last video before them when I said that I was going on hiatus? That video, the reason that video came about was because my family, the whole reason I had to get a second job was because the homeowners were kicking us out of the house that we were living in, and a lot of illegal stuff went down that it was, well, not illegal, but it was questionably, legally questionable, that were they allowed to do it, were they not allowed to do it, stuff like that. And basically we were in a time where we were about to be homeless. So I kind of stepped up, got a second job, and I was helping my mom out with what I could, and trying to trying to keep having a place to live so we didn't go homeless. And it ended up working out for us. We were able to find these apartments where I'm living at now. So it's been a tough time with all that stuff. So that's why I had gone on hiatus, because of that whole issue with the move, almost going homeless and whatnot. And all that was physically and emotionally exhausting. I was having panic attacks every other day. My depression was at its worst. I was, you know, pretty much, I literally was not myself at all for anything. Then I quit the first job that I was working, so I started getting more hours at the second job, which opened up a lot more opportunities for me. At the second job, I was making two to three times more on my paycheck than I was at the first job when I was working both jobs. So my paycheck when I quit the first job at the second job tripled in size from when I had both paychecks, which says a lot about how much I was getting paid at the first job and the second job while working through it and all that. And then I worked my way up in that second job and I got a promotion. I'm at my first stage promotion, so my pay increased even more because of that. But because my pay increased and I had that promotion, I kept getting more and more hours. It was to the point where I was only getting 1 day off a week, and that was it. An entire day off, and the day before I would get a 4-hour shift. But I was still working every single day aside from that day. And it was always, I was working close to 40 hours a week. So I was physically and emotionally exhausted from that because I'm working retail. So that's why, like, it was super difficult for me because we were understaffed. So there was only about 4 of us working at my second job at the store. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys will know that all the stuff that I've been going through at work, a bunch of stuff that, like, just some minor issues that my boss doesn't understand and stuff like that. But there was that whole issue right there going on. And then the first job, there was an entire issue with the supervisor, who was just super, for some reason she was super, like, I don't know what the proper, how I would phrase this, but she deliberately was avoiding me. She deliberately didn't get to know me. She deliberately didn't want to talk to me. She deliberately was so that first job, a little bit of background, it was an after school program, so I had to plan activities for kids and everything, and there were certain supplies that I needed for those activities that she needed to supply. I would turn in my supply list, she would not supply them to me, so I would end up spending my own paycheck on the supplies for the kids so that the kids can have an activity to do. And she would do this to me on a constant basis. And it was to the point where one day, I had got there and I was all like, "Oh, hey, where's all my supplies? Had I known that you weren't gonna get me my supplies, I would have stopped by the store before I came here to grab the supplies that I needed." And she told me, "Oh, I didn't tell you. I'm sorry. I changed your activity for you." And I'm like, "What the hell? What's going on with that?" So there was that. So it was like an entire thing with her that she said that I was intimidating, and none of my other coworkers who were there had thought that I was intimidating. It was literally just her. And that's crazy that it was like, I'm like I'm like, what the hell? Like, ask literally anybody that, like, knows me. I'm not an intimidating person, and I don't like conflict. Like, even the way I present myself in my videos is how I basically present myself in the real world. This is who I am. I'm not any different. The only difference is when I'm talking to my friends is another thing versus when I'm presenting myself, like, "Hi, nice to meet you," stuff like that, stuff like this, the formalities of it and everything. That's how I am on camera, is basically how I am in real life. I do enjoy, like, you saw that video that I had with my little brother last year for the 12 days of anime. That was pretty much how I interact with my little brother. That's how our interactions go all the time. That's how he is. We're both kind of genuine that way. So nothing about me is, like, actually intimidating until you get me pissed off, and that takes a lot to get me there. But yeah, so there was all that was going on. I was doing a lot of events. I was shoved in last minute as the leader of the dance for the cafe. I was part of the rookie team, and for the rookie team was led by someone else, but they couldn't handle it, and they kind of just pushed the role onto me without talking to the head maid or anything. So I had taken over for the dance, and I did all that, and then the head maid scolded me, and I was like, "Well, I mean, I thought they had spoken to you about it and everything." So there was all that stuff that happened too. A lot of internal affairs that was going on. So there was, like, there was just all that stress that was on top of me right there. just from all that stuff alone right there. Yeah. So that was all the stuff that was happening between when I announced the hiatus to my Kill Annie video, and then from my Kill Annie video to now, it was a lot of work where I was coming home exhausted, and I couldn't physically keep up with everything. So I was coming home like a zombie, and I just fall asleep, and I wouldn't wake up for hours and hours. And that was like, it was also like contributing to my depression and my anxiety. Then there was a whole issue where I almost lost my dog because the manager of the apartment says no pets allowed, and I thought my mom had got her registered for me as a support dog already for my anxiety, but I guess she didn't do it, and we had to give her away basically. But the family that was supposed to get her never came for her, and they never ended up telling us what happened, what went down, and everything. So we kept her. So there was that whole emotional issue that was going on right there. Yeah, that's pretty much covers all the stuff that happened. That's a pretty quick recap. On top of that, I did go to a lot of conventions. More positive stuff. I went to a lot of conventions, ran into a lot of my friends. My homeboy Kishido, he has his own YouTube channel now. I think it's Kishi Dope Productions. I think it was. I don't remember what the name of his YouTube channel is. But pretty much you'll find him on Instagram as Kishido. That's my homeboy. So I ran into him a few times. I got to meet a lot of really cool people over that year. And I got to meet Colleen Clinkenbeard, Eric Vale. On top of that, at Anime Expo, for the Magia record panel, I was sitting in the front row, right in front of Chiwa Saito and Emiri Kato. They were right there, right in front of me. Like, I literally could have stood up, walked 3 feet in front of me, and I would have been able to shake their hand basically. And that's how cool it was. That was for Anime Expo. On top of that, we went to a lot of other conventions in the area. This artwork right here is actually Ashley's artwork, Noble's girlfriend. That's her artwork that I had ran into them at a local con, and she was tabling there as an artist in the artist alley, and I was able to purchase this. It's really good art, and I love it. And on top of that, like, you can see, like, I have these new artworks that they weren't up on the other wall, because what was the point in putting them up if I was going to be moving immediately the next week? So I never put them up. Well, yeah, because I got these at Anime Expo, and it was like literally the week before I moved, so I just never put them up. And then I hadn't had a chance to put up any of the other artworks, so all this side of the wall right here is completely blank. Eventually, I'll put more stuff up there, but for the time being, it's completely blank. I have all my plushies in a hammock right up there, so I can literally stand up, reach up, and pull out any plushie that I wanted. So I have all those up there in a plushie hammock. I got all the rest of my posters in this poster tube right here. It's barely visible. On top of that, I was able to acquire a bunch of brand new figures. I got a Senjougahara EXQ figure at Anime Expo. I got a few. I got a Shinobu, another Senjougahara, Nariko, and a Tsukihi figure from a secondhand bookstore in my area. It's in my county. So I got those at a secondhand bookstore recently. I also recently acquired my very own Kamen Rider belt. So this is the Zeronos belt from Den-O. And, like, if you guys don't know, Kamen Rider Den-O is my favorite series, and it's pretty cool because it does have sound. And, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's crazy that I was able to, like, find something like that. Kamen Rider Den-O is my favorite Kamen Rider series. I've watched a few of them. I haven't really watched many of them. Um, Mostly because like when I started watching Den-O, was I was with my ex girlfriend, and I, because of the memories that were attached to Den-O, I had put Den-O off for such a long time. But even before watching Den-O with her, I had watched Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. I had watched I think it was Kiva, Kuga, and Decade. Those are the ones that I watched. Uh, yeah, Dragon Knight, Kuga, Kiva, and Decade. Those are the ones that I had watched, and then I went back to Den-O recently. Recently finished about a month and a half ago was when I finished Den-O. No, not a month and a half ago. Whenever the Bunny Girl Senpai movie was, immediately afterwards was when I went back home and I finished Den-O. Because I talked to my friend who went to see the Bunny Girl Senpai movie with me, and we were both in a Kamen Rider. So that's why I had watched Den-O then. Um, so I acquired my own rider belt. I still need to get the extensions for the belts, because the ones that I have on there currently are my cousin's. They're not mine. I'm just borrowing them for a while. Uh, on top of that, I bought and I've been playing Fate Extella Link, and I got the Glory Edition, so I have all the the servant class cards that come that for each servant in the game. Um, since the hiatus, I bought my own PlayStation 4. It's a secondhand one that I got from a friend of mine who was selling it so he could pay for his tuition at college. So I bought it off of him. It was a win-win situation. It was at a good price, so I bought it, and he was able to pay for his college textbook. So it was a win-win there. Um, and recently, this is very very recently. I got into this K-pop group called Twice. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys know that like uh, the member of Twice that I follow the most is Sana, and it's pretty much all Sana. I have more Sana cards than anything. Uh, so it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically, I'm like collecting all the Sana cards. Like this was the very first. This was the very first from the very first album that I bought was this one, and it's from the Feel Special album, the most one of their most recent albums that came out, and that album was really impactful, and it could not have come out at a better time, and I could not have gotten into Twice at a better time than Feel Special because of all the stuff that's been happening and everything. So that album is, it's a special album for me. It was a good time to get into it, and I have my stupid twin to thank because for that. Um, she basically, on Twitter, I was like, hey guys, I'm in a good mood, send me some good music to listen to, and she was like, listen to Feel Special by Twice, and then listen to all of Twice. So I'm like, all right, I did this to myself, I deserve it, so I'll at least do that. So I did Feel Special, and then I did listen to Feel Special, and then I went and I listened to all of Twice, and Feel Special just came at the right time. And like I even before I was into Twice, I kind of knew what was going on with the group itself, because my friends are really into K-pop and Twice. So I just I kind of already had a certain following of Twice, and I kind of understood what was going on and everything with the group itself, and how much the album Feel Special means to how much it means to the members. So when it dropped and I finally took a listen to it, that it hit differently, because like I said, it came at the perfect time for me, and that was it just solidified me. Before, the only Twice song that I had listened to was Knock Knock, and after that it was Candy Pop, because my friend wanted to do an experiment to see if the Curse of Purple was true, and the Curse of Purple is true. Follow me if you guys follow me on Twitter. The Curse of Purple is basically any if I watch an anime and there's a character in there that has purple in their color scheme, they are more than likely to be my favorite character. Or purple or blue, they're more likely to be my favorite character. Like Senjo Gahara, Yuki Nagato, characters like that. Um, So that was me. That's how I got into Twice. So I've just been, I've been kind of here and there, but YouTube is just basically I stopped doing it for a while because of all the stuff that was happening. So like I said, Feel Special did come at a really good time for me, and it was a great basically it was a great time for my dumb twin to even recommend that to me. So shout out to her. At Bunny, what's her Twitter? I don't remember her Twitter. At What Is Bunny. At What Is Bunny on Twitter. So yeah, there's that. Um, Aside from that, I also wanted to announce what I would be doing for the 12 days of anime this year. So the 12 days of anime for this year, last year I remember doing what did I do last year? My 12 of my favorite characters. So for this year, I'm going to be doing 12 of my favorite antagonists. Not villains. Antagonists. Because sometimes the antagonist of the part is not the villain, or the antagonist of the anime is not necessarily the villain. Um, for example, in the, I think what was it, Nadeko Medusa arc? Nadeko is technically the protagonist, and the antagonist would be Ogi and Araragi. They would be the antagonists because they're directly going against the protagonist. So the protagonist is basically the center of the story. That is the protagonist. They are the center of the story. So, like I said, I will be doing my 12 favorite antagonists. So they're not necessarily villains. They could be villains, but like I said, they're not necessarily villains. Most of the time, the antagonist isn't actually a villain, especially in the series that I will be talking about this time around. Every series, like, it's gonna be the same thing as last year and the year before, where you're not gonna know what series it is I'm talking about until the video comes out for it. So that's how it's gonna be, and I will start I'll start recording them soon, and then I'll be uploading them on the days that I have them set for. So starting from the 12th, December 12th, all the way up to December 24th or 25th, if I remember correctly. If I can count properly, it's one of those 2 days. The last video will come out, and some other big news would be coming out as well a month afterwards. So there's that to look forward to. Basically, what goes down in the month of December is going to dictate how big the news is going to be in January. So, yeah, that's all the updates that I have for you guys today. And I will be getting started on recording the 12 Days of Anime soon. So, look forward to when those videos start being released publicly, because I'm going to be recording them ahead of time and then uploading them, and then uploading them onto YouTube private, and then afterwards I'm gonna make them public. Set the videos as private and then make them public, so that way I don't have to stress out too much when those days come. I just need to remember to upload them. So yeah. So anyway, this from my new setup and my new apartment. This is Vash Steele signing out, and remember, this too shall pass.